Good morning. Today's gospel passage for the second week of Lent, Tuesday, is taken from Matthew's Gospel, chapter 23, verses 1 to 12. In this gospel passage, Jesus reminds his listeners about the Pharisees. He says that Pharisees love to sit on Moses' seat. Now, a reflection on Moses' seat. What is this Moses' seat? It is a seat from where the Pharisees and scribes used to explain to people the importance of the law or intricacies of the law. Or sometimes it is said that they were overburdening the people with the laws. And they were teaching it in such a way it was considered to be the most important thing that they have to follow. But then Jesus says, do whatever they say, but do not do what they do. It was a common practice among the Pharisees and scribes to teach and not to practice. Of course, in our lives too, we find it so hard to practice whatever we preach. In my case, sometimes I have to preach, but then when it comes to practicing, it is a very hard thing. But then, dear friends, as followers of Christ, we are all called to be like Christ. He does not teach laws. The only law that Jesus is insisting is the law of love. And then next, Jesus says these Pharisees look for their own egocentric views. They were phylacteries. And what are phylacteries? Are those box-like things they wear around their head and their bodies, which contained the verses from the Torah and the long fringes. This gave an indication that they actually followed the law, they followed God's command. And Jesus very clearly says these people were looking for important places of honor in the marketplace, in the banquet places, and in the synagogues. But then Jesus' teaching for us today is very simple, that we should not be like them. We should be humble and servants of all. That's why Jesus continues in this gospel passage that you have one Father, do not call anyone Father, and you have one teacher, you have one instructor who is the Messiah, and you are all brothers and sisters. That means here an indication of how we all should be equal before God. And adding to that, Jesus emphasizes the one who exalts himself will be humbled, and the one who humbles himself will be exalted. Dear friends, as we are in this Lenten season, following this gospel passage, we are all invited to be as humble as possible. Very often it is not always possible for us to practice everything that Christ tells us. But in our life, if we have that humility, we can follow the teachings of Christ. Now, in the life of Jesus, we find that he told on various occasions that he came not to be served, but to serve. At the end of his life, just before his death, when he was at his last supper, we very clearly notice that Jesus washing the feet of his disciples. We all of us are called to do that task. And what is washing the feet of the disciples? That is, in whatever way I can be of service to people around me, in whatever way possible, that would be bearing witness to Christ. In no way we would imitate the Pharisees and scribes who were overburdening the people with laws, but then they themselves were not trying to move a burden from the people. Therefore, let us try our best during this Lenten season as a great preparation for the resurrection of the Lord to walk on the path of Christ, to be of service to all around us. God bless you.